Welcome to Season 14. We've all been waiting for this to drop, and despite the absence of early access, I have put together 15 tips for you to get an edge in this new season of Apex Legends. Let's just jump straight into it. Let's start with the essential thing most players didn't actually hear about: Horizon's nerf. Now, yes, everyone knows that Horizon did receive a nerf with the black hole hitbox finally getting fixed, making it easier to destroy, as well as it taking 50% more damage from explosives. But Respawn accidentally omitted, I love that phrase, the fact that it is now susceptible to friendly fire. Because of this, one frag grenade will deal 150 damage to the newt, and since it's now easier to deal damage if you're stuck inside of it, that will be enough to break it. To counteract this, make sure to communicate the black hole with your team, and make sure you all throw grenades or focus fire the enemy around the same time to get the maximum value of the black hole before it inevitably breaks. Also, don't shoot your own or your teammate's black hole. Yeah, don't do that. The new season also features a laser sight that makes hipfire tighter and gives you a more accurate way to aim when you aren't aiming down sights. You can actually change the color of your laser sight by going into your gameplay settings and hitting the customize button. Season 14 features a new legend, Vantage, and she's pretty great. And her ultimate even more so. Vantage ultimate marks enemies and makes them take an increased 20% damage from Vantage and her teammates, while also dealing 50 damage for the first shot and then 100 damage for the second shot if you hit the marked enemy again. You have a total of 5 bullets, recharging one at a time every 20% of ult charge, so if you want to get the most value and use as many bullets as possible over time, try to aim towards keeping 4 bullets or 80% ult charge in the magazine. Vantage has a companion called Echo that can be moved around and sent around, and you can actually leap to him to clear horizontal distance or to get up on high ground whenever you use your tactical ability. You can easily double jump at the end to get even more momentum and clear more ground. The tactical makes a very distinct, pretty loud sound when you use it, and it sounds like this.
Moving to Echo for a better angle.
But you know what doesn't make a distinct sound? Hitting the like button. Still, make sure to do that if you liked the video so far. Ranked has received what's presented as a small change, but it is actually a very huge change to how the lobbies will play out. The ranked entry cost has increased by 5 RP across the board, but the big change is that there is no longer any diminishing returns on your kill points. Previously in Season 13, kill points were at about 100% of a kill point at the start, and then lost 20% of its value until it capped out, and every kill was worth 20% of the RP gained compared to the start. And now it doesn't fade off, and instead we finally have uncapped kill points in ranked. Finally. But since we haven't heard anything about matchmaking getting any changes, this does mean that ranked matches will clear out a lot faster because teams will just get more aggressive. And you should use this to your advantage by looking for an isolated fight or contest early on, and then just playing passive or hiding while staying clear of the map's hot zones while the rest of the lobby just kill each other. This was already viable in previous seasons and especially Season 14, but since the lobbies theoretically will clear out faster, you'll see even better results in the new season. As we all know by now, the Wingman has received a change from being a heavy ammo weapon to instead becoming a sniper that uses sniper ammo and equipping a sniper magazine. By the way, this doesn't mean it's getting like a sniper scope or anything, it's just that the ammo class changes. Either way, sniper ammo is harder to come by, and you can't carry as much of it since it's only 28 shots per inventory stack, meaning that the 30-30 repeater will find its way into the meta in its stead as a single fire poke weapon. To make matters worse, the 30-30 now comes pre-equipped with a dual loader, which allows you to reload 2 bullets at a time, and it can also be equipped with the return of the skull piercer, which means that you can deal up to 120 damage with a headshot, which is way more damage than the Wingman ever could. Just run the 30-30, it's busted. The EVA 8 has received a significant buff, bumping it up from being a trash tier weapon to pretty solid, maybe even overpowered. Definitely good enough to trump out the Peacekeeper in certain situations, and incredibly strong against enemies that are caught out in the open. It's more of a spammy shotgun than a single fire, peek, and poke sort of shotgun, so it does come down to your playstyle, but since double tap is back, obviously it once again will go on the EVA. I personally never like to use the double tap, but if you find yourself in a situation where you are dueling a Peacekeeper user or playing around bubbles or corners, you should turn the double tap feature on to get more value out of your poke and deal over 100 damage per shot. The EVA 8 buff also includes that it fires way faster per bolt, and if the numbers confuse you, let me give you another angle. The EVA 8 used to fire a little over 2 shots per second with a purple bolt, and now it fires 3 shots per second instead. Just look at this. The L-Star also received some buffs, which might mean it's worth running with an increased projectile speed, allowing you to fire 4 more shots before overheating and no longer blinding you with a bright red flash as you hit non-armored targets. The self-revive has been removed from the golden knockdown shield and instead takes the old golden backpack's passive, Guardian Angel, where you can revive a friendly teammate with half of their health and shields. This means that you want to give the golden knockdown shield to your support legend, especially if they have an ability that enhances or speeds up revives, such as Newcastle, Gibraltar, or Lifeline. Speaking of Newcastle, he's received some huge buffs that might end up making him completely meta. Specifically, his movement speed when reviving has increased by 25%, the turn slows while reviving has also been reduced, and a knockdown shield that covers you and your teammates is even stronger. On top of that, his tactical also received a buff going from 350 health per portion to 500 health, and it moves incredibly fast at twice the old speed. And on top of that, voice crack, his ultimate has also been buffed and will now apply an even harsher slow effect if you touch the electric fences on the outside, but it also slows your turn and aim speed. He was already kind of slept on, and he'll for sure go from being the least picked legend to one of the most picked legends after this. Mad Maggie is another legend that was underappreciated and will swing straight into the meta with some insanely useful buffs. Her ultimate Wrecking Ball now travels twice as far as before and deals damage to objects, and most importantly, it destroys Gibraltar's bubble. This might be the Gibraltar counter that we all wanted, but he was already falling out of the meta with the rise of Seer. But to counter this, if you are still running a Gibraltar and you're stuck inside of the bubble with a Maggie coming straight at you, consider stepping out of the bubble and body blocking the Wrecking Ball to stop it from destroying it and instead stunning you while knocking you back into the bubble. Keep in mind, the ball not only stuns you but temporarily blinds you as well, and in addition to the increased risk of getting focus fired when blocking the ball, you need to be careful when tanking it so you don't give the enemy team a free kill. That being said, there's no mention of Gibraltar deflecting the ball with his arm shields, so yeah, that works by the way. So that might still be a valid way to counter an oncoming Wrecking Ball. The crafting materials you pick up are now credited to the whole team, meaning that you no longer need to take all the barrels around each POI to get all the materials that you want. For the sake of efficiency, you instead want to ensure that every team member gets their share of the POI and then hit about 1 crafting material bin each, so everyone in the team gets the materials without wasting all the time running around and going after it. This is especially important since round 1 closes a lot faster now and does 1 more damage per tick than last season. In other news, there was a slight change to crypto down in the part of the patch notes nobody ever reads that might end up causing some huge changes in the meta. Specifically, his ultimate now completely breaks Watson's ultimate. Before, it would disable or break all placeable objects with less than 100 HP, and if they have more health than that, say cost 6 barrels, it will deal 100 damage, but it didn't touch Watson's defensive pylon. Now that it can be destroyed, we might see more crypto enter the meta, and if crypto becomes more common, Watson's defensive abilities will rapidly decline, and we're gonna again see the rise of caustic. Fragment East had its loot nerfed from medium to low level loot pretty recently, and a change was reverted in season 14. This means that you can safely drop on or around the streamer building again, and if you're TSM, you can finally leave Fragment with more than 3 white armors and a P2020. Saving the best for last, Seer has received 0 changes for this new season. Despite this, he's even more viable than before because he synergizes with Maggie, who received the aforementioned huge buffs. Watch out for Seer and make sure you have one on your team, because if it was good before, he's a must pick now. If you don't have a Seer this season, you're just throwing. If you guys find this valuable, make sure that you are like this 17.4% watching and you have hit the subscribe button. I have tons of valuable content lined up every single day for the new season, and you do not want to miss it. If you want to hear my takes on the patch notes, check out the video on the screen. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow.